Sometimes before I make a video, I ask myself, do I really need to say this? And usually the answer to that is yes. And this is one of those videos. You have to be admitted to a court in which you appear. You heard me right. Some lawyers don't know this, and they don't know it on a different scale. Let me tell you two stories. One is probably more appropriate for new lawyers. If you're admitted to practice in your state, you have a license, obviously, to practice law in your state. But if you're going to appear before a court, you also have to be admitted in that court. Now, the admission process in most courts is really a formality. You may need to get the assistance of another attorney who's also admitted in that court. But the process is pretty much, as I said, a formality. I had a case several years ago with an attorney. He was not a new attorney, and he was licensed to practice in the state of New York. He was also admitted to practice in one of the federal districts, but he was not admitted to practice in the federal district in which the case was pending. And when we appeared, I indicated to the court, Mr. So-and-so is not admitted to practice before this court. To my surprise, the judge simply said to me, yeah, I see that. And I thought, and what? So she let him argue, and nothing was done about that, which surprised me. Now, that's going to differ from judge to judge. I was before a judge, really her predecessor. If you did that with him, he would have you have a seat. You're not admitted to practice before me. Yes, you're admitted to practice before the federal district court in other districts in the state, but not before me. So have a seat. He would do that. This judge did not do that. A more egregious example was, this was a different judge. There was a proceeding that I brought, and the parties were, number one, a resident of Rhode Island, and number two, an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Rhode Island, not licensed to practice law in the state of New York. And I got responding papers from this attorney in his capacity as a party, but also representing this Rhode Island litigant. And I had to look at it a couple of times to see, is this a mistake? But no, it said attorney for so-and-so. So he was appearing both on his own behalf, which he has every right to do. He doesn't have to be admitted to practice if he's appearing on his own behalf, but he certainly has to be admitted to practice in this state. I mean, it's a crime. You're practicing law without a license. So I filed a motion to strike all of his papers, and we appeared before a different judge now. And when I tell other lawyers this, they don't believe me, but this is exactly what the judge said on the record. We first took my motion to strike, and the judge said to me, on the record, I'm going to look the other way. You're going to look the other way? He let this attorney appear, make arguments on behalf of his client, and he was not admitted in the state of New York. Now, that's an extreme example. I would say 99 times out of 100, that motion to strike is going to be granted, and that attorney is going to be reprimanded and told, no, you can't practice in New York courts without a license. It'd be nice if he had a license. But that's an extreme example. You're not going to probably see that. That was the only time in my career I've ever seen that. But you probably will come up against situations in which you're going to appear in a court. You have to ask yourself, am I admitted in that court? Now, you can be admitted pro hac vici. Now, what that is you get another attorney who is admitted before that particular court to kind of sponsor you. And you show that you're an attorney of good record in your state, and you're allowed to appear on behalf of your client in that court for that matter only. So for that matter only, you are for example, in this case, you are a New York attorney. So this lawyer that I told you about, this Rhode Island attorney, could have done that. He didn't. I don't know why, but he didn't. And so you can do that, or if it's a court you're probably going to appear on subsequent occasions, just get admitted. You look at the local rules. It's a paper shuffle. There's not much to it, but make sure you're admitted. Now, I've talked about this in other videos. I've got a free Lawyers Guild guide, rather. I took the 3 top things that a young attorney should not do in their earlier career. And if you go to my website, you can get a free copy of it. It's teachnewlawyers.com, teachnewlawyers.com.